Hey there, beer enthusiasts. Welcome to Beers That Fits, the podcast where we dive into the world of craft beer, one brewery at a time. And I'm your host, Rob Fitz, and I'm here to bring you closer to the people behind your favorite brews. In each episode, we sit down with the passionate owners and talented brewmasters who make the magic happen, exploring their stories, inspirations, and unique flavors they bring to the table. Whether you're a seasoned beer connoisseur or just starting your craft beer journey, Beers That Fits has something for everyone. So grab your favorite brew, sit back, and let's toast to good company and great beers. This is Beers That Fits, where every story fits perfectly into the world of craft beer. Slanja. Welcome back, beer lovers. Today's episode is a little different. We're coming to you live from the Mass Mutual Center in downtown Springfield, Massachusetts, where we joined the Springfield Thunderbirds for their Booze and Brews Beer Fest. This event brought together some incredible breweries, a lively crowd of craft beer enthusiasts, and an exciting hockey matchup for the Springfield Thunderbirds, which is the AHL affiliate of the St. Louis Blues. During this event, we had a chance to sit down with many breweries, including Easy Company, One Way, Little Willow, and Connecticut Valley. Each one brought something unique to the table, and it was a blast diving into their stories, and of course, sampling some fantastic brews. Along the way, we even caught up with a dedicated fan of the podcast, which was a fun surprise. And to wrap it up, we had the pleasure of chatting with Nate Costa, the president of the Springfield Thunderbirds, to talk about the synergy between craft beer and hockey, and the excitement behind hosting events like the Booze and Brews. So grab a pint, settle in, and let's dive into all the action from this incredible brewfest with the Springfield Thunderbirds friends and some amazing breweries. Let's get started. All right, so we are here at the Mass Mutual Center in downtown Springfield. It's the Booze and Brews Beer Fest just before the hockey game, and we got our first vendor to come over here. I am joined by Hannah, by the way.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and so we got our first vendor here, and if you can say your name and what brewery you represent.
My name is Toby. I work for Craft Brewers Guild out of Everett, Mass, and I'm pouring Weihenstephan German beers today.
All right, so you said it's a German beer. What kind of German beer is it?
So this one that we'll start with is the Helles Lager. It's a light-bodied lager made in a very traditional German style.
Yep.
Weihenstephan is the oldest operating brewery in the world. They were founded in 1040.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I'm hoping to be with my company for 16 more years when they hit 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wow, that's cool.
But we'll see.
That's
Yeah.
a great goal to have.
And where's this brewery located?
Freising, Germany. In,
Germany, okay.
Thank you.
Bavaria.
All right. And where can we pick up these in this area?
We are doing our best to get them to every store that wants them. Primarily, obviously, big chain supermarkets like Table and Vine, Liquors 44, Spirit House in Amherst for the people up in Amherst area.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
This is delicious.
It's very good. Nice and smooth and light.
Yeah.
It's a light-bodied beer, very simple mash bill, very simple hop profile. Just gives clear, crisp flavors to the beer.
And Rob, when you were doing the interview with Leadfoot Brewing this past week, this was actually one of the beers you guys were talking about becoming more popular because everyone's kind of shifting away from the IPAs, the New Englands, the West Coast ones, and doing something more like this. So this is delicious.
Yeah.
Have no fear, IPA is still king. Don't everyone get nervous out there. But the imported beers, the lagers, they're definitely having a bit of a moment as well, having a little bit of a resurgence with the consumer for quite possibly that reason. You know, IPAs are great. Love them. Have had hundreds of them.
Yeah.
But the flavors in an IPA can be very strong, very powerful. Whereas these are more balanced, more easy drinking, lighter alcohol, etc.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of good reasons to drink imported beer.
What's the so you got two cans here. What's
Yes,
the
I do.
percentage on the first one you just gave us? We're just gonna look at the can.
Barely 6.8% on the Helles Lager.
Okay, so that's a little
decent
bit
alcohol level.
Yeah,
but
that's
it doesn't
decent.
taste it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very light on the mouth.
That's really good. And so what's the second one that we got here?
This is the Hefeweizen.
Okay.
Hefeweizen is a wheat beer.
Yep.
So different mash bill, different yeast, different flavor profile.
Okay.
This one's 5.6%.
All right, so a little lighter on the alcohol.
A little lighter on the alcohol, but a little bit more going on flavor-wise.
What do the Germans say to say cheers? Do we know?
Prost.
Oh, there you go. Prost.
Prost.
It's delicious. This is very good.
That's really good.
Very good.
So those flavors you get, the banana, the clove flavors, those are from the yeast that they use.
Wow, yeah, it is. It does got a hint of sweetness to it.
Yes.
So that's the banana you said?
From the yeast, yeah.
From the yeast.
These are brewed to the 1,000-year-old German purity law for beer making, hops, water, malt. They didn't know about yeast when they made that law, so they just trusted that whatever which was brewing the beer then knew the way they were doing and had the right brewer's paddle to get the right yeast. So.
Definitely.
I really hope that Student Prince downtown has these on tap.
They do. We were there.
Yeah, they're excellent.
We were there Thursday night for a tap takeover with our importer reps and a representative from the brewery. Very interesting night. A lot of good conversation about how the beer fits into American beer culture. And it's, even though these are old beers, there's still a lively market for them in America.
Yeah, definitely. I do find myself getting away from the New England IPAs or the darker beers, the stouts and stuff like that. And I do find myself drinking a lot more lighter beers. I just went to a Jack and Jill and I won a 30 rack of Bud Light, and I just told my wife last night, it's kind of nice having a 30 rack in the fridge. I can just grab one. They're really easy drinkers.
I'm sure we've all had many 30 racks in the fridge.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and you were the number one on today's podcast.
Hey.
So
thank you so much. I'm honored.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
So we are back. I got my second brewer, and if you just want to introduce yourself and say what brewery you work with.
Hey, I'm Jeff St. Jean with Easy Company Brewing, right here out of Springfield.
Excellent. I've been hearing a lot of good things about you guys, and tell us about the story about Easy Company, how it came in, and what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks. So it's really a story. It's like a story with two stories. If you know the story of Band of Brothers, made famous by the miniseries, the book, and then you know Newman's Own, then you basically know our company. So we are inspired by that story. My partner John and I, there's only two of us in the company right now. We both met in the military many years ago, and we both had family members.
Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you very much. No, it's an honor. So our family members, many of our family members served, and just always had a heart for military servants and veterans, and especially combat vets. They sacrificed a lot for this country, and we're grateful. This is the best country in the world, and it's only that way because of the people that serve. So in all capacities. So we were talking about that story one night. Actually, we were downtown at the Student Prince, one of our favorite places to go, and we're drinking a few European beers, and we were talking about the story, and those breweries are hundreds of years old. And we kind of wondered out loud, hey, I wonder if the guys from Easy Company when were drinking beer like this when they were rolling through Europe. And so John, my buddy, he says, man, somebody should make a beer. Open a beer company and make a beer for all the places those guys went, because a friend of ours had mentioned it's kind of like the European beer belt. Like, they went to England, they went to France, they went to Holland, they went to Belgium, they went to Germany, finished up in Austria. And some great beer styles from there, So then we were like, that's a great idea, but you can't profit off of that, especially that name, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be right. And then that's when, after a little while kicking it around, a couple months, John says, you know what? There's a lot of need out there. What we'll do is we'll just set it up like Newman's Own. We'll give the money to charity. So we went on the hunt for charities, did our research, and found some charities that are doing amazing work. Not only are they doing amazing work, they're giving the vast majority of their money right directly to vets, their families, and first responders. So we did our homework, and we set the threshold, nothing less than 85 cents, then $1 goes back.
That's amazing.
And that's it. And we were happy to find there were a lot of really good charities out there that give the majority of the money away.
That's amazing.
It's awesome. So
that's great. Just the whole story and everything that you guys are doing. And we were at the Big E/Eastern States Exposition.
The bunker setup you guys had.
That bunker you guys had was quite the setup. So
it was better than seeing like the Dunkin' Donuts they've had in the past. I was like, all right, that actually looks really cool. Like it invites you in. It's like, all right, I want to know more about who these guys guys are and why they brew and what they brew. So it looked great.
It's awesome. Thank you very much.
Right, so what beers did you bring over for us to try today?
We have on the market right now, out in retail for us, we have an American lager brewed in honor of their time in Georgia when they were training for their deployment. So we named it Currahee after the mountain that they ran up and down in training.
Oh, that's
3 miles
cool.
up, 3 miles down. So
that's a cool name.
Just crack this guy open.
That's a great sound on the mic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's nice crisp beer, classic American lager. It's brewed in the style that those guys would have found during the Depression.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there weren't a lot of German ingredient like German hops and things like that around back then. So it's got a nice little finish to it. It's like a little bit. It comes from the hops. There's a small citrus kind of note at the very end, but it's a nice beer.
Very smooth.
Very smooth,
Thank you.
easy drinking. Very
Appreciate
good.
that. And that's what we're going for. We're basically we're targeting right around that 5% alcohol by volume level. Trying to make everything very approachable, very drinkable.
Yeah.
So,
and what's the APV on this one?
this one would be 4.9.
Okay. All right. So right there.
Yep. And then we have an English ale. It's kind of a classic English IPA recipe. Most people aren't too familiar with the style. Mm-hmm. This one was brewed in honor of their time in southern England while they were training for the D-Day invasion.
Oh.
Wow.
This one's got a little bit of a bite on the front end. English beers are known for their bitterness. This has just a little bit of a bite on the front end, and then it has a nice crisp middle, and then it finishes actually really clean. So
Definitely darker than the last one.
for sure. Yep, it's a little bit more of the malt character. A lot
I really
of maris
like
otter
the
in
bitter.
this one.
The
Thanks.
bitter taste is really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I have these kinds of beers and the bitter, I'm like, ugh. But this is really good. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's people that don't like IPAs. When we tell them we have an English ale, they're like, no thanks, I don't like IPAs.
Yeah.
And then we try to convince them to try it, and they're like, you know what? I don't like IPAs, but I like this beer. It's a nice beer.
Yeah,
So
that's
again,
good.
approachable, right? So just trying to keep it clean. And then the third beer that we brought over today is something we brewed just for the Big E. We brewed it's a Märzen style, so classic March beer, Oktoberfest. It clocks in around 5.3.
Okay.
And it's it's just a nice beer. It's not too sweet,
Thank you.
and it's got a nice kind of like caramelly notes to it, and
it's a beautiful color
not
too.
a lot of thanks. Not a lot of bitterness. It is. It was a favorite at the Big E for sure.
Ooh.
People really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's good. And this one's 5.3%.
Right. So a little bit on the low end, I think, of alcohol in the style, but
Right.
again, like I said, we're trying to keep everything drinkable. So
Yeah. And you guys don't have a tap room right now?
we do not.
Okay.
So we're trying to keep the debt low. We basically exist to give our money away. So
Yeah.
right now we're 2.5 years old. We don't we don't want to take on that much debt right now. We're kind of getting to the chicken and egg stage though. Do we grow with a tap room or do we wait to grow and then get the tap room? But we'll get there. But we're out in retail. We're in bars, restaurants, package stores all around. We just got into Connecticut, which is exciting for us. We're very happy about that.
Excellent.
And did you guys help put this on today? I thought I saw somewhere that
Yes.
you went.
Sponsored
okay.
by
Yes, they are.
us and
That's
Loophole,
awesome.
our good buddies at Loophole. Those guys are awesome. We love
it's
those guys.
kind of too bad what happened with their tap room and all, and I just feel like the dominoes keep on falling for Heffy,
Yeah,
Hopefully he
it's
lands on his
unfortunate.
feet and finds a good place.
I think good things happen to good people eventually, and he's one of the best. Him, John, and all of his partners are all just solid guys.
Yeah.
We really like him a lot, and we really are pulling for him. We hope they find success
Maybe he
somewhere
can take
soon.
one of the new restaurant spots in the new garage they're building.
That'd be great. That would be great. He's an operator, and those guys do a great job. So big fans of theirs.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Yes, thank you. And again, thank you for your service and what you're contributing to people. And that's wonderful.
Appreciate it. It was really nice meeting you. Appreciate this very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, so we're back. We're with our third brewer, and he brought two beers over. If you just want to introduce yourself and say which brewery you're from.
Yeah, my name is Jason Titzo. I'm with One Way Brewing, located in Longmeadow, Mass, on Maple Road. We're in the plaza with Lee's Brothers and Frankie's Pizza. We're right in between. Got a little outdoor patio and a little tap room.
You guys really kind of expanded out, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's been a passion project for us. It's something that we do kind of on the side, and because we love beer and love making beer, and when kind of COVID hit, and we couldn't do Beer Fest anymore as home brewers. We're like, what are we gonna do? And then we're actually looking to buy a kegerator, and the pizza shop that is now our brewery. That was their dining room, and they were selling the kegerator because they were moving out. They decided not do the dining room anymore and just go take out only because of COVID. And so we went, looked at it, me and my business partner, and who was just a friend at that point. We weren't even a business yet. You know? And we left there, and I'm like, hey man, we should see if this place is for rent. This would be an awesome little brewery. And it was a mile from each of our houses. Like, this would be perfect. And that's kind of where it all started. So it's kind of hatched from buying a kegerator.
That's
awesome.
Beautiful. So before we jump back on, we were talking about the text messages that you guys send out. Every Thursday,
which they're
Friday.
Great reminders. They really are. It's like, oh yeah, because actually we got one at one point, and I was like, we haven't been to One Way in a while, and it was a perfect reminder. So it's like a nice little prompt.
Yeah, we appreciate that. It's, I got a funny story about those text messages because you had mentioned, Hannah, that it starts out with hello. You know. So we were one day I was working in the tap room, and this lady comes in. She's probably in her mid-20s, and she's like, do you send out the text messages? And I said, no, that's my business partner. She's like, well, you need to tell him that he scared the life out of me yesterday. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, last night, if you remember, it was dark and rainy, and I'm coming home, and this is like in the fall time. She's like, I was coming home with a handful of groceries, and I had my phone on top of the bag, and all of a sudden the screen lights up and it says, are you alone?
That's awesome.
She's like, and I freaked out. I practically dropped everything, ran to the house, get inside, and it says, come on down to One Way for a beer and a pint. Live music, And I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. So I'm telling that story. I think it's just one of the best stories ever.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
So
we had a very similar situation with your text messages. You got it, or I got it, and you.
You got it first, because sometimes there's a delay, like who gets it first. And I was like, who is this? Because all you see is like the first slow words, like, hello, I had a great time with you last night, and I'm like, who is this?
Looking for a good time, something like that. It was funny.
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
All right, so what beers did you bring over for us?
Yeah, so I brought a couple different beers. So I brought our Spilled Milk Mango, which is it's kind of been our staple beer ever since we were home brewers. It's always been our most requested beer. People love this beer. I remember we did a very first brew fest back when we were home brewers. We decided to take our beers on the road to Bennington, Vermont for the winter homebrew and wings. And so we brought this beer, and it was busy all day, did a bunch of stuff, had a really good time, went back, didn't really think anything of it. We did another beer fest locally around here, like 6 months later. This couple comes up and they're like, hey, glad to see you guys were here. We were kind of trying to figure out where you guys would be next. We came down for your mango milkshake IPA. Do you have it? And I'm like, no, I don't have it today. I'm like, I'm just a home brewer. I don't have staple beers, And she's like, well, you should, because that thing was delicious. I drove 3 hours to come down here hoping that you would have that. And I was like, man, I'm so sorry. I said, I'll tell you what, the next one will absolutely have it, and I'll make sure I put some aside for you.
Well, that's awesome.
So if you guys, this is kind of based on a classic milkshake IPA, so my inspiration for this back in the day was Tired Hands out of Pennsylvania. So I think they brew some of the best milkshake IPAs that there are out there. They're super balanced, fruity, a little bit of vanilla, and then they got a little bit of hot bite on the back end to remind you drinking a beer, right? So that's kind of how this is, so if you get that mango up front, get that little bit of vanilla creaminess, and then get the little bit of hop on the back just to kind of remind you that.
Do you consider this a harder beer to brew because of the lactose that's in it?
I've been brewing it for so long. Maybe back in the day I probably thought that, but now it's just like, wash, rinse, repeat. Because we brew it so often. But no, I think, I think initially trying to figure out how to balance the hops and the fruit and the lactose. Like, I think for me, I think the lactose could really take over, and you get that like coating on your tongue if you're not careful.
I was going to mention that it's very smooth and it's kind of creamy.
Yeah.
You definitely can taste the vanilla that you mentioned in there. But yeah, it's a good mouthfeel.
Thank you. And I also like it to I try to brew our beers where like the taste goes away. So after it's kind of a little bit of a dry finish. So once you're finished, it's done. And you're ready for something else. Whether it's another beer, another taste, whatever. Kind of get you looking for more rather than just kind of hang around there and become offensive. Like some beers, I think like you drink it tastes great, and then the aftertaste just kind of sits in there and just becomes kind of a little much. But, so try to not do that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's delicious. That was really good.
Thank you.
All right, so what's the next one we got here?
So the next beer actually is a single hopped IPA, APA, American Pale Ale.
Okay.
We single hopped it with Mosaic. This is a beer I started brewing. This style I started brewing these single hopped pale ales because my business partner back when I first started brewing with him wasn't even really a beer drinker. And he was always like, what does this hop taste like? What does this hop taste like? And I said, well, I'm going to do just like a really simple, basic pale ale. Okay. And I'm going to single hop it so you can kind of get the understanding of what all these different hops taste like and what they taste like alone versus, mixed with other stuff, So that's kind of how that series, and that's usually our solo seat series. But this beer here, it's called Gimme Shelter. It's something we did in collaboration with TJO. So the Thomas J. O'Connor Foundation.
The dogs and the animals in the back.
Yeah, so it's a fundraiser for them. And we did a raffle where you could buy raffle tickets, and if you won, your dog got on the can or your cat. So we have 3 dogs, 3 cans.
Oh, that's cool.
And tomorrow we release this beer, so it's actually a pre-release. You guys haven't even had it yet. Yeah. So that's kind of a sneak peek, right? And then, so tomorrow, when we sell these, and until they're gone, $1 from every can goes to the TGO Foundation and Shelter. So, and I think now with the storms, all the dogs coming up and cats coming from the south, it's really needed for bedding and food and toys and all the stuff. So,
did you do a partnership with Rock 102 on this one?
We did. Yeah. Okay. So they did some. So it was Rock 102, it was TGO Foundation, and then the new Longmeadow Veterinary Clinic across the way from us.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Great graphics on it too, on the front.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my business partner, Zach. That's what he does. He's a graphic designer and printer, so not a bad person to have.
Not at all, yeah.
So he does a lot of our, signs and graphics and marketing, and so it works out pretty good.
So this one's very good, nice and sweet.
Thank you.
What do you think?
Oh, no, it's very good. Very delicious. I don't think I've had a bad beer yet today, which is amazing.
That's good. Yeah.
Definitely going to have to pick up a couple of these 4-packs because this is really good. And it's an easy drinker, too.
It is. It's a very easy drinker. And one thing also that we started doing is we do hard seltzers.
Ooh.
We have a hard lime seltzer we usually always have on tap.
Yep.
And then we started doing hard green teas.
Okay.
Yeah. Something I've been wanting to do for a little bit. And there was a brew fest this winter called Extreme Worthy, and it was supposed to be brew something you haven't brewed before.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is perfect. I already had all the ingredients to do it, and I was like, this is where I'm going to do it. It's like 175 people that are like beer drinkers.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's see if I can win these guys over. I can win these guys over. We're pretty good, and everybody loved it. And every time I brew, I do in small batches, and every time I do it, it goes really quickly in the tap room. It's tap room only. It's not in cans or anything yet. So I got to swing by to get it.
So I don't know if anyone that's listening's ever been to the brewery in Longmeadow. Is there any plans to expand?
So, kind of.
Okay.
It's kind of a loaded question. Me and my business partners, we did buy a piece of land in East Longmeadow.
Okay.
That we are opening a farm there.
Yep.
And so we're going to do some farming, and that's kind of like agritourism. Mm-hmm. There'll be some opportunities for the brewery to do some pour events and stuff like that. So we're pretty excited about that. I don't think we'll ever move the brewery there per se. We're pretty. setting our roots in Long Meadow, being Long Meadow guys.
So your plan is to grow your own hops and stuff there?
Yeah, so we do a mulberry milkshake IPA, and we do a mulberry stout. And I don't know how much you guys know about mulberries, but you can't get them at your local fruit stand. They're really hard to get. And so I get them for my tree in my yard, and that's kind of how it started.
Wow.
Yeah. So I brewed that beer, if you got time for one more story. I brewed that beer because my wife runs the Forest Park Zoo, and she did her first ever brew at the zoo.
Yeah.
And
so your wife's the one that runs that?
Yeah, she does.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was telling me this story like before the brew at the zoo started. Yeah, drink them up. Before the brew fest was even an idea, she was telling me how Dr. Seuss's father was the third curator of the Forest Park Zoo.
Okay.
And so then when she said she's going to do the brew fest, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. She's like, what are you going to brew? And I'm like, everybody loves the mango milkshake IPA. Maybe we'll bring that. And she's like, yeah, wouldn't it be kind of cool to do something separate, different? And I'm like, it would be, And then we had this massive mulberry tree in our yard right at the end of our driveway, dropping. And one day I came in, it was like dropping berries everywhere. I had a white truck, kept staying in my truck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I got to find something to do with these,
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a mulberry milkshake IPA. I'm going to call it Mulberry Street, like in like the whole, after like Dr. Seuss's dad, It's, right out in Forest Park Zoo, kind of like that whole tie-in. And that's kind of how that beer hatched. And we do it once a year. And because it's a really short picking season for mulberries, and I only have one tree.
Yeah.
Right.
So we get one batch and that's it,
Yeah.
So that's kind of...
What's the one that you guys do during the holidays? Is there one that you did during the holidays, maybe like a year or two back? I haven't had since, but it was incredible.
So we do a couple different. So we, in a couple of years, we did a collab with Rustic Brewing in Indian Orchard, and we did a cranberry stout.
Yes,
so,
that's what it was.
Yeah,
yes.
It's called One Rustic, and it is a cranberry stout, and they did a cranberry sour stout. So it's kind of like, and it's cool that we're in a hockey,
arena
event, right? Because it was a home and home kind of thing. You know how they talk about that in hockey all the time, like home game here today. So it was kind of like we brewed at their place, the sour stout, and then we brewed ours at our place. It was kind of like, so it was fun. It was a good time. We did it for a couple of years, and so I don't know, maybe we'll get that one back this year.
I just remember it being so freaking good.
Yeah.
I was like, this is good for like dessert after a great meal, around the table with family. I was like, this is prime. It was delicious.
And that one was interesting because it's like cranberry is like a bitter, kind of fruit. So it's like trying to
very
get
tart.
And trying to get that tan. For us, is because we were doing it in conjunction with a sour. We didn't want it to be super tart and super, because it kind of like get into their lane a little bit, So we wanted to kind of keep the sweetness to it and, and give it some like almost like a, cranberry cheesecake kind of thing, and that's kind of what we were after. And, that was the juice. Add a little bit of chocolate, kind of for the crust. And, a little creaminess with some lactose, and then we had, some vanilla, of course, and then some cranberries, and so. Wow,
it sounds delicious.
Thank you.
Good. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
You coming on. We'll definitely have to schedule a time to do a full episode together with
awesome.
You and your partner. So.
Yeah, that would be great, man. Anytime you guys want to do it, come by, and we'd love to set up and make that happen.
Excellent.
And I appreciate you guys having me on. It was fun, and as you can see, I love to tell stories.
Yeah, no, you're great.
Especially when it comes to beer. Especially when it comes to beer. I mean, that's the whole reason I got into this, right? Is because I love talking about beer. So thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right, so we're back here with our number 4 brewer here at the Booze and Brews Beer Fest at the Thunderbirds game.
Thunderbirds. Had a couple beers already.
Yeah, have a couple beers. They're all kicking in. So if you just want to introduce yourself and tell us what your brewery's name is.
I'm Kyle from Little Willow Brewing Company. This is my probably 4th or 5th year doing this festival. It's probably one of my favorites of the year. I know you guys are here every year as well, so you get it. Yeah, it's a good vibe.
Yeah,
a lot of people show up. It's a happy time, and then you get a hockey game. So
yeah, definitely.
How can you beat that, right?
Are you sticking around for the hockey game after?
I mean, of course, dude. Every game I can go to, I will absolutely go to.
Excellent. All right, so just tell us quickly, the story of your brewery, and where you're at today.
So I've been around for 3 years now. I started as a home brewer, and I was also professionally brewing. What I ended up doing was eventually one day trying out a situation where I was a contract brewer, so I ended up putting one of my own beers in the tank to see kind of what the consumer response would be. And everything seemed to go pretty quick and sell out pretty fast, so it's continued to grow in production since then, and people have attached themselves to the brand. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's led us to here, and I'm starting with a few new styles here and there, but keeping the IPAs as my number one focus and always trying to improve and never be satisfied with where I'm at.
Definitely. Well, you got some good beers, you know. I always find myself...
Oh my gosh, your doubles are always
The doubles are always my favorites. I feel that.
I always find myself grabbing a 4-pack no matter what when I go into a package store. So
I appreciate that.
You got good stuff, and
you do.
You know, you're hitting it out of the park in the area. So
appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, the name Little Willow. Where does that come from?
So Willow's my daughter. I'm a single dad. Willow's been brewing with me since she was probably like 4 months old.
Okay.
She's done like thousands of batches probably as far as between home brewing and professionally brewing, and kind of jumping in on collabs
who
that I've been doing.
that, right?
And stuff like that. She's a huge fan of, I don't know, kind of what we're doing, and like just the artistic side of brewing and the creative side of brewing, and understanding what things taste like and what ingredients go in and how they affect like a final product and stuff like that. And I don't know, she participates in the labels and the names, because all the labels correspond to like something we're doing in our lives at that moment. So the brand grows as we grow, and it kind of forms like a timeline of myself and my daughter, which is kind of a little added bonus.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's cool.
Excellent.
But go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what you brought one beer over.
It's not a New England IPA. Yeah.
It's not a New England IPA. Yeah. You want to just tell us about this beer right here?
So this is a stout. I think it's my second or third that I've done. This one's brewed with chocolate and marshmallow. I use like a chocolate whipped frosting and a chocolate, regular kind of like milk chocolate.
Like an actual frosting?
No, these are extracts, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, like it just makes it a lot easier in the brewing process, but it came out perfect. You know, the aromatics are a lot like Hershey syrup a little bit.
Okay.
But the marshmallow adds this great kind of like sweetness at the end that counterbalances the alcohol, where there would be a bite on 9%. It doesn't have that, you know, so you're able to enjoy it and do the whole thing.
All right, so... Oh,
that is beautiful.
That is really...
It's still scary being an IPA brewery releasing anything other than an IPA, because
it's definitely on the thicker side.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was going for.
That's amazing smell though.
The smell is amazing. Definitely smell that chocolate.
Yeah, I wanted it to be I wanted it to have the flavors, but I still wanted it to be beer first. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want it to be like overly extract, or sometimes I find that people flavor things so much that they become kind of gross. I wanted to find that balance where it was just enough.
I love the name Cemetery Walk. That's great.
I live across the street from a cemetery.
Oh, okay.
When Willow was like 4, she wandered over there and was wearing like all black, and we took some pictures, and it was exactly one of those pictures that we styled that out.
Yeah. So for the listeners, the logo is a willow tree, and then on the right-hand side, you have a little girl that's dressed in all black, and she is touching a headstone that says RIP.
That's really neat.
So I love the consistency, the thickness of this beer. It is really good. Mouthfeel is amazing.
But I don't think it's too heavy.
No,
there's
not heavy.
Stouts or porters where you can only have like half a can and you're done. Like I would drink a whole can of this, no problem.
Absolutely. It's thick, but it's not heavy.
Right. And I mean, the flavors are there, but none of them are like gross. Mm-hmm. You know, where like sometimes it's so much of that one flavor that it almost pulls away from the positive experience of the beer, because it's like, whoa.
It's kind of like what I'm getting is a chocolate-covered cherry or a chocolate-covered raspberry of some sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're the second person I've heard that they're getting some sort of like berry from it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
But there's no berries in it. Interesting.
Why, do you get it too?
Yeah.
Wild.
That's crazy. I don't know if it's like maybe something in your head that's doing it, you know?
Yeah.
That's really neat though. So do you make all the labels yourself, like graphic design them?
So it's an idea. I end up sending it over to somebody and having them put it together.
Okay.
But outside of that, it's like, I have to come up with everything and have a full description of it and all of that. And then I work with a graphic designer who puts all of that into a file, and then we kind of just build from there until I'm like, that's exactly what it should be right there, and we go from there. Yeah.
And you have no plans of opening a tap room, right?
At the moment, no, just because production and demand is so overwhelming that the idea of having time to think about putting something like that in perspective, that's just too much right now. And then, I mean, you guys know where the industry's at this exact moment.
Right.
I think, the idea of that is something that anybody who's attempting to open or start something in the beer world should kind of just sit back and wait a minute, see what's happening, because there's definitely something happening.
But it's incredible the amount of demand you have without even having a tap room. I feel like usually a lot of breweries have to have a tap room in order for them to be found out. So that's incredible what you've done.
I mean, it's kind of the reverse of what everybody else was thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like they were going to have a place where you can only go to get the beer. Well, I have a place that doesn't exist, but you can only get the beer at certain stores at certain times. So it's like, it's still the same scarcity model, but it's just reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're the opposite of Treehouse, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not only in Massachusetts. Where are you? How many countries?
I have 7 states right now and 32 countries distribution. So it's around, it's moving. Things are, the response has been very good.
I remember running into you last year, and you're like, I just got into Japan. Yeah, you were so excited.
I've had one shipment to Japan. That's kind of a country that like they'll decide when they want more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a thing where it's like if they reach out, sure. The UK and Europe are steady though. Like all of those countries, it's pretty much almost every single batch, which is very nice.
That's cool.
It's cool, and it seems to be doing well over there.
So how does that happen? How did you get around the world like that?
I mean, I guess the distros just reached out to me.
Oh, okay.
So like I would just get an email, and at first I'd read it, and I was like, seriously? Seriously? Like, is this for real? Like,
yeah, exactly.
How did spam not catch it? You know what I mean? Like, and then I'd respond, and like my Europe distro has been absolutely outstanding. They've been so easy to work with. They take care of almost 100% of the process that's involved in doing all of this, and they've both distros have made it so easy that it's like it would be stupid not to do it.
Yeah. Right.
And it furthers the the spread of the beer, and I get to hear feedback from different countries that have different beers that are doing different things at this time, and it's just fun, and it's cool to see people get excited about it and look forward to it, and it's awesome.
That's amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah. All right, well, Kyle, I got nothing else. Thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Yes, we need a longer podcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to schedule time to do a full episode.
Cool.
So
sounds good.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you
so
guys.
much.
Appreciate it.
All right, so now we're actually at the Brew Fest. We're going around, and we're just talking to some fans. Can you hear me okay?
So far, so good.
All right. And so you just want to tell me who you are and what brewery you're representing.
My name is Justin Enright. I'm here with Little Willow Brewing Company out of Florence, Mass.
Excellent. We just had Kyle on, and we tried, Hannah, what beer did we try?
It was a Cemetery Walk.
Cemetery Walk. It was pretty good, nice and chocolatey. Tastes like a chocolate-covered cherry, in my opinion.
Well, the finish on that was excellent. Oh, my. Everything Kyle does is so well-rounded, balanced. Everything's just delicious that he puts out there. The reviews on Untappd speak for themselves.
So he wanted us to come over here and talk to you real quick. He said you came from Plymouth just for the day to do this event.
Oh, yeah, I'm always up here doing events with Kyle and helping out any way I can, supporting my bud.
Excellent. So what's your history with Little Willow and beer in general?
Well, I just mainly go to her birthdays, hang out on holidays, go on trips and stuff. And yeah, I know Kyle. We worked at Brewmasters out in Williamsburg for a while. I left there and then went out to the Plymouth area. What's up, all my Plymouthonians? Worked for Untold out there for a little bit as a filler operator. Just enjoying stuff. I'm in the civil engineering field now, doing a lot of survey work out in Cape Cod. Work for Grady Consulting out of Kingston, Mass.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anna, you have any questions?
Yeah, I guess I kind of want to know what your favorite beer is that Little Willow has made so far.
I'm definitely looking forward to Blue Ribbon coming out. If you haven't heard about that, it's going to taste somewhat in the resemblance of a beer. It goes by PBR.
Okay, yeah, Kyle was telling us about a lager that he was going to be making.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, Kyle definitely has this way with making the beers consistent, was something we were talking to him about. And his doubles are always fucking incredible. Always.
Yeah, I wish that they would request more things other than the New England IPAs, because everything Kyle puts out is consistently better than anything I've really had. So, yeah, New England to itself is somewhat new to me. I've been out here for 4 years. Came out and I wasn't a fan of New England IPAs when I first got here, but Kyle's like, hey, check out the stuff that I made at my house. And I was like, oh my God, this is a little bit better than some of the stuff that we make at the brewery. So definitely love to drink beer.
Yeah. Hannah, you got anything else?
No, that's it. That was awesome.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. We do appreciate it.
Great chatting with y'all.
All right. Take care. All right, so we are back, and we are actually stopped by a fan, a loyal fan that listens to the podcast. Can you tell us who you are?
Hi, my name's Andrew from South Hadley.
Excellent, Andrew, and you're a season ticket holder here at the Thunderbirds, right?
Yes, Section 31, Row D, Seat 9.
Excellent, excellent. How you enjoying yourself today here at the Booze and Brews?
This has to be probably one of the better ones yet. I've been coming every year since the T-Birds have been starting doing this.
I have a question. I want to know what your favorite beer so far has been tonight.
So far, hard to say. I'm going to have to say that the chocolate marshmallow stout's probably been my favorite so far. I'm normally not much of a stout guy, but that one has really impressed me.
Are you talking about the one from Little Willow?
Yes, it was on the tip of my tongue. Sorry about that.
Good. It's hard sometimes when you're put on the spot. I totally understand.
Yeah, we actually just had that one from Little Willow. Kyle himself came and sat down with us, and we cracked that one open, and he discussed how he came up with it. I was definitely getting some chocolate-covered cherries. I didn't get any marshmallow, though, but it was nice and thick and smooth at the same time.
Definitely.
What kind of flavor profiles were you getting out of that one?
About the same.
Yeah, excellent.
So can you tell us what your favorite kind of beer is overall? Do you like New England's? Do you like Pilsners, lagers?
Yeah, what do you normally drink on a daily basis?
Usually New England IPAs.
Okay. Do you like White Lion or 2 Weeks Notice?
Love both of them. Two of my favorite local breweries, actually.
Excellent, excellent. Hannah, any more questions?
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being willing to talk to us.
Yes, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for waving us down.
You're welcome, man. Keep up the good work.
All right, bye.
All right, so we are back, and we're with our number 5 brewery. And you just want to tell us who you are and what brewery you represent.
Hi guys, my name is Lindsay, and I represent Connecticut Valley Brewing. We're in South Windsor, Connecticut.
Excellent. I love that spot.
You're
when
one
you
of your
come
dad's
up,
favorites.
Yeah,
Your
my
dad
dad lives all the way up in East Hampton, Massachusetts, and he has to come down, periodically so we can go down to Connecticut Valley. So
It's definitely worth the drive between that, the coffee shop, the car shows.
yeah, definitely. There was this one time, it was last year, what was it, on Father's Day or
Father's
something?
Day.
And my stepmother had reached out to you guys and said, hey, can we bring food? And no one ever responded back. And so we sat outside and brought our own food. No one ever said anything. And then someone finally responded the next day and said, no, we have food on site. So we had
So
this
everybody, it's a no. They have great food on site.
Yeah,
Just so everyone knows.
we had this nice picnic outside with the food we brought.
That's so funny. I do bartend down there as well, a couple nights a week, and now they have told us to start telling people no more food, unless it's a birthday cake.
Okay.
I think we can let people do that.
That's fair, right? Because you could do that inside a restaurant anyway, so that's perfectly, understandable.
Excellent. All right, so you brought a beer over. Tell us what it is and what kind of flavors it has.
So this is our flagship beer, the first one we ever brewed. It's called Trailblazer. So it's a New England IPA. It's more like a double. It's 8%.
Okay.
As everyone who tries it, though, it does not taste like it's 8%.
Okay.
And it's going to be Citra and Centennial hops, so it's going to have that Citra hazy taste.
Yeah, excellent. All right, let's open it
I
up.
love hearing the noise.
Yeah, so we see you here at the Thunderbirds games periodically.
Yeah, I love doing those. I usually will bring this one. I'll bring our infamous spiked smoothies. I'll bring our stouts.
Because you guys are definitely known for your smoothies, but this is fantastic.
Yeah, nice and citry.
Oh.
Very hazy indeed. Light in color too.
Well, that's
it's
a good
beautiful.
one. Oh, that's really good. So what is your favorite
I haven't had
beer?
this in a while. It's so freaking good.
What is your favorite beer that they've put out? Pick one. I know there's probably many, but
I would honestly have to say our Strawberry Bliss Sour.
Okay.
From every time I crack it, every time I pour it from the draft, it's just the aroma of the real strawberries is just so good. And it packs that sour punch, but it's not too sour. So people who don't even like sours, really enjoy it.
that's awesome. Because I'm not much of a sour drinker. I am very, very picky with my sours. So that sounds like one that I would probably like.
Yeah, I do like sours.
And if you ever came down to the brewery when I was bartending,
Okay.
if you
When do you bartend, by the way?
Yeah.
Super random, but if you don't like the straight strawberry sour, I will mix it half of our lemonade smoothie,
Okay.
and you get like the best of both worlds. Not too sour, not too sweet.
Yeah.
See, I could get down with that. That's fine. I just don't like when it's like so overpowering, and obviously that's a palate thing, but that sounds absolutely delicious.
And I did hear that you brought that to this event, but you ran out before you came onto the podcast.
I brought cherry pie.
Okay.
And I brought lemonade to this event, and I literally ran out just before I came over here.
Oh.
It was a crowd pleaser, yeah.
That's all right. We got the Trailblazer, and this is
Trailblazer's
pretty
excellent.
good.
It's delicious. Do you know when they opened?
Our tap room opened in 2017.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And we've expanded a lot since then. We used to have the food trucks.
Yep.
So that's why everyone is kind of used to bringing food.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have the full coffee shop, the full cafe, the full kitchen.
So you guys own the coffee shop next door?
Yes, Birdhouse
Okay.
Coffee is also our company.
Okay.
Ah.
Awesome.
And Birdhouse made its debut at the Big E this year. We had our
very
cold
nice.
brew coffee, and they took it on draft, and they shook it up with some like rum chata, Bailey's,
Ooh.
whipped cream.
That was in the Connecticut building then?
No, so the coffee ended up being down by like NOLA kind of hot tub area.
Okay. Yep.
But the Connecticut building had our slush, our spiked smoothies in the slush machine. Had some of our beers, had our sours, some cider, some stouts.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So when do you guys open?
Yeah. What's your hours of operations?
We are open every single day. Mondays we have car nights, Tuesdays bike nights, Wednesdays trivia, we have bands. The coffee shop, I do not know the exact hours, but I'm pretty sure it's like 7 a.m. Yeah, every single day, like 7 to 9.
That's awesome. Have you always been a beer drinker, or was it really when you started with Connecticut Valley?
I was not really a beer drinker until like the end of college, and I started with like stouts, porters.
Yeah.
And then I learned to love I really do love the New England IPAs. I like the West Coast style IPAs. And then working with CT Valley, since we make so many different styles, like we do the stouts, we do the sours. I've been exposed to so many other styles, and I honestly love them all now. I can appreciate every style.
Do you guys have like a lager or a pilsner?
We do. So we have 2 lagers that are really popular at the brewery because they're, excuse this typical word, they're super crushable.
Yeah.
We've got an American lager called Ace of Aces, and we've got a golden lager, which, again, with me in the mixing, I will mix our golden lager with our lemonade and make a shandy.
Ooh. That sounds really good.
That sounds really good for the summer. Like,
The shandies.
Yeah.
And we do have a German Pilsner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys do music too, because I think we had music the last time we were there as well.
Oh yeah, it becomes like a full-on concert venue down there, like Aquanet, Trailer Trash, all the. I think Aquanet's there tonight or last night, and then Sundays is a little more acoustic music. But yeah, it's super popular for bands to come.
That's incredible.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on the pod. Thank you for
I want more.
the beer. Oh, you're going to take some more? Okay. And she wants some more, too.
It's been a while since I've had it. It's so good.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you guys.
Cheers
you.
so much.
Cheers.
Lanja.
All right, so we are back with our last and final interview here. And we have, actually, I'll let you introduce yourself and your title here.
Nate Costa, President, T-Birds.
Excellent. Nate, thank you very much for being on.
Of course.
This event, how many years have you guys been doing this Booze and Brews? I know you used to have a different name, but how long have we been doing this?
I think it was the second year, so this is probably the 8th season that we've been doing it. And we, like you said, we had a German theme to it for the first, I guess it's 7 years of it, and we were just trying to change it up.
Yeah.
Do something different, obviously, with Halloween coming down. Everyone's got their parties going tonight anyway, so we figured we'd do something.
A lot of people are in costumes and everything, which is great to see.
Yeah. I mean, we're hammered, obviously, with 5 games early on here in October. So
yeah, definitely.
We've got high expectations, and it's been a challenge trying to fill the building for 5 games this early. But I think we'll have a decent crowd tonight.
Yeah, definitely. 7 more seasons. The St. Louis Blues, they just re-upped for 7 more years. How's that for the T-Birds organization?
Well, for us, it just gives long-term certainty. That's the idea behind it. We had lost a year with COVID coming out of, with the brand new deal with those guys. So in the negotiation of trying to figure out what that next year was going to look like, the stuff was going on with Chicago and Carolina, and I didn't want to get down that path and, go into a lame duck year with 1 year left on our deal. So we started talking about an extension, and they were thrilled with that conversation as well, which was good news for us. We've had a great partnership so far. Still to see on the ice. We'd like to bring a cup home, obviously, but it's not always about that, right? It's about developing, and it's also about having a good place for their players to develop, and just having a good relationship with your NHL partner at this level. Not always blessed with that. So to have the Blues here, they appreciate the AHL. They want to develop their players in a good environment, a winning environment, and they invest in it, which is what we want to hear, because that's not always the case.
Yeah. You guys do amazing things, all the special events, the meet and greets, this Booze and Brews. What you guys are doing here in downtown Springfield is amazing, and it brings people down here, and it brings money into the economy. So I living downtown Springfield, we live right across the street at Classical High School. I appreciate what you guys do here. We're actually season ticket holders, and this is year number 4 for us. So our first year was the Calder Cup finals.
It was a great year to start being a season ticket holder, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know. It was that run is something that we hope we get back again, obviously, but appreciate the support as ticket holders. And we're trying to make the events more than just a hockey game, right? I think that's what we really try to do from the beginning, is take the building and program it with something that, you don't have to be a hockey fan to come out to our games. Now, obviously, hopefully second best hockey in the world on the ice and a winning team, hopefully. But if you're not a big hockey fan, hopefully there's something here for you. And, I always thought that this building was underutilized. I always thought that downtown Springfield could support a team. I worked for the league a long time. We worked with the previous group. They didn't invest in it the right way. So when we had a chance to take it over, I made sure that, we were going to invest in it the right way. We were going to spend money on events like this. We were going to do things that, may not make a lot of sense to a hockey fan, but it makes sense to people that are just looking for fun stuff to do downtown and in the area. And oh, by the way, we've got the best hockey in the world on the ice, right? Like, at the end of the day, we can always fall back on that, but you can't rely solely on that to have a successful team in this league. Our building's perfect for the AHL too. I mean, it's a great size. Place gets loud, we're excited about continuing this and hopefully getting some wins on the ice here at home. That'd be great if we could beat the Bears. It's gonna be a big one tonight, obviously.
Since this is a beer podcast, I'm curious, are you a beer drinker?
I am.
And what is your favorite beer? You don't have to say a certain brewery, but just like, is it a lager? Is it a New England IPA? West
Lately,
Coast?
I've been into Pilsners.
Okay.
I have a lighter beer. I mean, I love love a good IPA like everybody, and a nice juicy IPA. But I don't know. Lately, I've been going with something a little lighter, something easier drinking. And Fort Hill I live in East Hampton, so I love going over to Fort Hill Brewery,
awesome.
and they've got a great Pilsner that I love. So I'm kind of partial to those guys. A lot of great beers in Springfield, right? White Lion and Loophole, and the guys at Easy Company. So they're sponsors of ours as well. Like, great guy there. So it's this is a cool event. We're trying to program things that make sense, right? So at the end of the day, like when we first started here, there weren't a ton of beers in this building. Now I think we've got something like 75 different offerings, not only on draft, but on can and, craft beers. So the concessionaire has done a really nice job. And this is an event, a way to get people to come on out and sample what's in the building and get a chance to try it before you buy it. So, it just makes a lot of sense to do. And it's fun, right? Like, come on out, a couple hours, have some live music, be a part of a podcast, and have some beers before the game. I mean, there's nothing better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love the Friday promotions. $2 used to be $2 Coors Lights, but you guys opened it up to all domestic, so you get a different variety now. So the Friday events that you got going on. So Nate, thank you very much for being on the podcast today.
We know you're a busy guy, so we really appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
You too.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Beers That Fits. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of craft beer. Don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's episode. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for all updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more. And remember, new episodes drop every Thursday, so be sure to join us next week for another great conversation with the people behind your favorite brews. Until then, grab a pint, enjoy, and cheers to good times and great beers. Slanja.